On this episode of MythBusters, get set for some heavy metal thunder.
There's so much potential for major disaster in this.
We've got the incredible and the inedible.
Don't knock it till you've tried it.
As the MythBusters turn heavy machinery into a medieval weapon. And how to keep your cool and your cash. Adam and Jamie go round in circles to settle a great automotive mystery.
I get so much pleasure out of this discomfort.
Who are the MythBusters?
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
Quack, damn you.
I wouldn't say Jamie's an evil genius.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
When will the fun ever stop?
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. When the MythBusters and machinery mix, the result is usually mayhem. So, what have we here? Let's see. A big crane, some shipping containers,
Cranes and forklifts and everything's all running at once.
and Buster in a boom lift.
I think Buster's about to be annihilated.
Looks like we're in for some big-scale myth-busting. In fact, they don't come much bigger than this one.
There's so much potential for major disaster in this.
That's what's exciting.
No matter what happens, something cool is it's gonna look cool.
All right, guys, right off the Discovery website comes an absolute gem for you to do. I'm a little jealous. A poster who gave us the tale of a guy using a boom lift, like one of those extended arm cherry pickers, to try and lift the engine out of his car. He's using a chain or something, and that fails as he's doing it, and the boom lift catapults this poor guy up and over his house and into a tree.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Think you're up to it?
I think that sounds like a real fun one.
Not for Buster, it won't be. He's going to be in the boom lift. A car engine will be suspended from the lift on a length of chain. At the right moment, a quick release mechanism will be triggered. The engine will drop, and Buster will be catapulted out of the boom lift. Simple, right?
Well, you know, it seems pretty straightforward right now, but I think it's going to get pretty tricky, and it's going to use all your skills. First thing we need to do is find a boom lift, and, you know, they're not cheap, so we've got to get right on that.
Well, also remember, it's probably going to be the last thing you're ever going to do with this boom lift, so we don't want to go buy a brand new one.
Maybe we can rent one. What do you think?
Now, seriously, would you rent anything to the MythBusters? Just so happens they found a second-hand boom lift, free to a good home. Jamie and the build team go kicking tires.
We've got pretty good use out of it, but the problem is the engine failed for some reason. I think it needs a little work, but it's going to cost like $3,000, and it's not worth it to us to spend that much money on it. So I'd rather just give it away rather than sell it.
Now, the myth doesn't specify the size of the boom lift. The arm on this one extends 40 feet.
A 40-foot extension is quite a bit, and heck, it's free. I think this is great. This is like a, you know, $50,000 machine or something, brand new, and it works. It's everything we need. You know, who knows, with a little tweaking, it might be just a perfectly functional machine.
It's not like Jamie to just jump in like that. And sure enough, it's not long before that mustache starts twitching.
The only question I would have would be, what are our other choices, and is there one with a longer boom on it? Because 40 feet, it's quite a ways up there, but you know, if you had like an 80 or 90 footer, that would seem more likely to me to be able to, you know, get up to some serious speed out the end of that long of a lever that it would throw something 200 feet.
When it comes to catapulting, size does matter. So it's thanks, but no thanks. On the other side of town, a bigger boom lift awaits.
My throne.
There's nothing these junkyard junkies love more than a good rummage.
Look, he's coming. He's coming straight for us.
This rusting relic has a 60-foot arm.
This feels nice and secure. I definitely get on here and do some work.
And can you believe it? It's also being given away.
This thing's got a little gremlin in it. It'll run just fine, and then it stops.
We call that Murphy.
Yeah.
He's common in our shop.
Gremlin. I think I know what the gremlin is, but basically this boom has reached the end of its boom lift life, so I'm not going to fix it.
Okay, but will the build team be able to get her going?
Hydraulics all work fine on this thing. All the controls work fine. Everything works fine on this thing. It's got an electrical gremlin. And I do believe that it's either that solenoid or it's that one there.
Okay.
The business end still works without the engine. Carrie takes it for a test drive.
They used to call these booms bang-bang lifts. See what happens?
Yeah.
Put your foot here. You feel how it jerks? Okay, feel that?
Extraordinarily bouncy.
Yeah, you can imagine 60 feet out.
Oh, boy.
It's like you end up being on the end of a fishing rod.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what they're talking about.
I could see someone having a lot of fun with this and getting into trouble.
It can be very dangerous very quick.
My friend, that is music to the MythBusters' ears. This bouncy boom lift is bringing out Carrie's sadistic side.
Oh, guys, this is gonna be incredible. Oh, we definitely could throw him. Wow, look at that. It's like a trampoline. That's insane.
Well, that's quite a.
That's a lot of bounce there.
So maybe you guys
Okay.
just need to. Whoa.
It's kind of fun.
I think this is what we want. I think Buster's going for a ride.
Being on a boom lift is a dangerous business. Each year, accidents claim dozens of lives. In those cases, though, being catapulted hundreds of feet isn't the problem. It's the fall from the basket that does the damage. But having Buster topple out of the basket won't be enough for the MythBusters. He'll have to be airborne.
This one first, and then you can extend it out.
Okay.
Guys, I think this one's it. You know, that arm really sticks out there quite a ways. It's a heck of a lever.
Tires got off the ground.
Yeah. You know, he says that it'll run. I guess it's a bit of a risk once we get it up there. We're kind of committed.
It does come with manuals.
And that's probably going to be our biggest problem, is to get this thing running.
Tori, don't worry about the boom lift. How about poor old Buster? Will he be working? Looks like he's been mauled by a great white.
So Buster is really busted up now, like really badly. Even though he still has his head this time, his arm is off. His arm attachment shoulder blade is just all broken up. We already repaired that once. Obviously, it didn't work that well. His leg is off. His ball joint is missing now. So I have to put him back together so that we can then launch him 200 feet from a boom lift catapult.
How did Buster end up in such a mess? Well, Adam and Jamie were trying to crack the elevator of death myth. In the name of science, Buster took an 8-story free fall and soon understood the gravity of the situation.
I don't know if we can put it back together.
Yeah, Scotty can do it.
He's still smiling though. He always has that little smile.
The MythBusters want to know, can you turn a boom lift into a deadly catapult?
This is gonna be incredible.
Buster's going to be in the boom lift when it goes off, but he's already gone to pieces. But we can rebuild him. Gentlemen, Scotty has the technology.
So I think what I'm gonna do is rebuild his shoulder and modify it. I'm gonna make it out of steel. The steel is a lot stronger than aluminum for impact. Right, Buster?
Scotty begins the delicate surgery.
It is working.
How's Buster doing?
Both his legs are back on.
Woo! Look nice. I brought you something special. I heard his little heart got broken, so I made him a new one of duct tape for you to put in.
Meanwhile, it's chaos in the car park. The boom lift's about to arrive.
Like that. Isn't that great? You should just trick it out.
It was all you, buddy.
Hey,
Good job, man.
Nice work.
You can actually operate this thing almost entirely just off battery power, and so you don't need the engine to run.
But doing it that way sucks up a lot of juice, and the battery will need constant recharging. It'll be better if the engine's running. But first things first, it's touch and go, but it looks like Buster's gonna pull through.
So is that it? Is he ready for action again?
He is ready.
You've done a good
Raring
job,
to go.
Scotty. Look at that, brand new hips. What is that, roll pins? Set screws.
Set screws.
Nicely done.
And there's a grade 8 half-inch threaded stud in there.
No rest for Scotty, though. It's straight from Buster to boom lift. Just a little electrical gremlin, the guy said.
Dry. It's totally dry. Got a hole in the gas line, so Scotty's gonna go see if she can find some new hose, and we're gonna try this again.
Quiet it is.
Oh, go, go. Keep it. Go, 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 go.
Let's let it sit. Maybe it's flooded. It smells kind of gassy.
That's the thing with free stuff. You get what you pay for.
Come on.
I don't know what this is. I don't have one of these on my car.
Don't you know how to fix engines?
Yeah, that's a myth that we're gonna bust right now.
Let's leave Scotty to get on with it. The catapult has been around since ancient Greece. According to the myth, the boom lift became a type of catapult known as a traction trebuchet. Tension stored in the arm itself provides the flinging force. That's what the MythBusters hope to replicate, eventually.
We have an emergency backup which just runs off the battery. We could get it in a position that way, but it wouldn't be as good. It would take a lot longer.
This thing's not gonna.
Whoa.
I think it's time to call in the expert,
Would that be Jamie or Adam?
Jamie, in this
right.
case.
Tori and Carrie, meanwhile, are handling the crucial matter of signage. Godspeed the tosser, and all who are catapulted from it. Assuming we ever get it going.
You'll have to clean it. It's just a little dirt in there, but the engine works fine. You're going to be in business. There's no question about it. Okay? So I'd pull the whole carb off and do a proper job.
But this is one moody machine.
No.
And the curse of the cantankerous boom lift strikes.
Watch out, sorry. Oh, we got an emergency.
Carrie cops an eyeful of gas.
Here, let's go down, go down, go down.
Tastes like the ocean.
Here.
How long do you do this before it's out?
You're gonna do it for at least 15 minutes.
Carrie will be okay.
Well, it's a little red.
A little red.
As for the tosser,
We thought the float bowls and the carburetor were stuck, so I took that apart and got those working. The distributor cap, we took that off. That looked fine. We then went to, Jamie noticed that the points were hot, and I thought maybe then it's not opening, which was the case. Those were stuck together, so we got those open.
it only works in fits and starts.
Want to push that button?
Still, that might be enough to test this myth.
Okay, so our next step is to attach a chain between the engine and the basket with a quick release, and then we'll pull the quick release when we have it under tension and see how far Buster goes.
Ride.
Not surprisingly, Buster seems a little reluctant to get on the boom lift.
Buster! Come on, stop clowning
God,
around.
he's wet his pants.
As per the myth, a car engine will dangle from a length of chain under the lift.
Just to note, it takes quite a lot of force to move the quick release under load.
How did you guys do it? You did the
I
elevator?
did it with a chain, just a piece of 16th inch cable.
Okay.
And not only that, the quick release requires an up pull or a down pull, so you'll need to rig a pulley in line so you can transfer that force from the side. Because you don't want to be anywhere near it when it goes up. You're not doing it the Jamie way, obviously.
I know, I'm doing it the Adam way. Quick and dirty, but it gets done. It looks like these kind of accidents happen all the time. It's actually more of a question with this myth whether Buster's gonna be shot over a house or if he's just gonna tumble out of the basket onto the ground. We have a quick release at the bottom of that chain that we can pull a pin out and make this chain snap as if it had broken on its own. Get the same effect, see if we can make a catapult.
For the first test, the tosser's arm won't be extended. Now, just gotta work out who's going to operate the quick release.
Rochambeau.
Odd man out. All right.
Whoa.
It's face off. Me and Scotty. Looks like Scotty wins.
Right, it's the moment of truth. Will Buster be a far-flung dummy, or is this myth far-fetched?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoa!
That was cool. He didn't even move.
Buster barely wobbled.
Well, that was the most anemic catapult I've ever seen. In fact, Buster didn't even budge. He didn't like quiver hardly on that one. So now we're going to lift the boom up to where it's kind of in the same position and extend it all the way out from there. And I'm hoping that that'll actually create a little bit more of a whip when we let go the engine.
All right, I'm gonna count down. 49, 48. Just kidding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Buster didn't even spill his coffee.
No, he didn't even drop the cup.
Well,
That's it.
Scotty's had an idea.
Well, I'm thinking that if this guy was pulling it from a car and he was up in the basket, the engine might have been caught on something and he couldn't tell, and that would have been enough to break the chain.
so should we get the caddy in here?
It's Earl's turn.
All right, let's hook it up to the caddy.
Jamie, like Buster, is unmoved.
Even if it was double what it just did, which it won't do, you know, nothing's going to happen.
If Scotty believes it can happen, that means a lot of people believe it can happen, so we should try to prove it.
We'll be thorough.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
The size of the boom lift might actually be working against them. The tosser's big enough to absorb the force of the engine's sudden release. Will Earl's weight make any difference?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo!
Wow.
Dude, he's still holding on to his coffee.
Well, there you go. We're going to have to elaborate on the myth.
We're gonna have to do this MythBusters way.
Yeah.
Doing things the MythBusters way usually spells trouble on a titanic scale. The build team has an idea, and it's a biggie. But before they go big, they've got to go small. Tori sets about building a scale model boom lift.
What we're trying to do is turn this boom lift into a catapult. So an idea we came up with was turning the front axles into an actual pivot point.
And then just using the weight of the body of the thing as the catapult weight to...
Exactly. And what we're going to do is we're going to raise it up, grab these points here, and then let the actual thing swing forward, just like that. So this is a scale model. And then we have scale model truck containers that we're going to use to put this on and use it to lift it up.
Do you think those will be strong enough?
The truck containers?
Yeah.
I don't know. But
I mean,
we'll
how much
find
does
out.
this thing weigh?
This thing actually weighs around 25,000 pounds.
I can reinforce those.
Well, it also looks like it's not quite high enough to get a full swing. If you wanted to catapult something, you need it to go all the way over, right?
Yeah, right now we're hitting right there. So
we got to go up higher.
we'll probably have to get 2 containers.
Well,
stack
they're
'em.
totally stacked. You can stack them and lock them together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no guts, no glory.
How do you get it up there? How do you cock it? How do you release it? All keeping people far away from this thing, because you're talking about 25, 30,000 pounds. under 10
swinging in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's potentially extremely lethal.
But that's what you love, don't you?
But
Because I
what
know
it's
I
all
do.
about, absolutely.
How about a little demonstration using a cutout Jamie doll?
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen.
Take 2.
Well, that's not too bad. That might have made him, like 80, 100 feet or something like
I
that.
think that's pretty good. That's, you know.
What Tori's proposing to build is called a counterweight trebuchet. This type of catapult, which was popular in the Middle Ages, lets gravity do the work. Big rock at one end, even bigger counterweight at the other. When fired, the counterweight drops and the big rock goes about its business, certain to cause belligerence on the battlements.
You black-hearted, fish-stealing dog. Never, you filthy poacher!
And this would have to be the mother of all trebuchets, a colossal catapult in the heart of rural England. Built by a medieval enthusiast with a lot of time on his hands, this 30-ton monster has no problem flinging fiery fuel bombs. Oh, and if you're in the area, don't leave your vehicle unattended.
Well, not bad, eh? Not bad. Smashed it up pretty nice. It won't drive again anyway, I don't think.
Not very well, no. Will the tosser be able to wreak similar havoc?
You're going to have a big crane to get this up there in the first place. It's like lots and lots of massive steel, heavy equipment. I know I can
Heavy
see it getting
metal.
exciting already.
Love it.
This is a big build. Are you sure you're up for it?
It's a big build, a lot of elements to get it together, but it absolutely looks doable.
Turning heavy machinery into a medieval weapon.
Wow, that was actually fantastic.
It doesn't get any more MythBusters than that. With world oil prices on the rise, everyone's looking for ways to save pennies at the pump. How can you get better fuel economy? Gentlemen, start your engines.
So is this really an urban legend, Jamie?
No, it's more of an urban puzzle.
Like one of those things you would discuss endlessly sitting in traffic or debate on a road trip.
Yeah, the idea is that on a really hot day, it's more efficient to run with your air conditioning on full blast and your windows up than it is to drive with the windows down and the AC off.
Well, that seems pretty logical. That seems right to me.
I don't know about that. AC uses an awful lot of power.
Oh, I think a car with the windows open is creating an awful lot of drag.
That's what makes it a perfect test for MythBusters.
And that would be us.
That would be us.
All right.
Ever since the first auto air conditioners arrived in the 1940s, drivers have asked the question, do you get better fuel economy with the AC on or the windows down? The MythBusters are about to run 2 tests to find out once and for all.
We're at the Altamont Raceway, and we're going to test whether it's more efficient to drive with your AC on or with the windows open.
Auto computer gurus Bob and Jesse are helping out with the first test. This computer will measure fuel consumption by monitoring the rate of airflow through the SUV's engine.
This was going to calculate our average miles per gallon. This is our estimated miles per gallon.
We've got a computer hooked up to the car. We're going to do 15 laps, 5 with the windows up, 5 with the windows down, and 5 with the windows up and the AC on full. And we're going to see if the computer shows us a significant difference in the mileage of the car under those conditions.
Time to hit the road.
All right, on my countdown, in 5, 4,
3, 2, 1, go.
The first 5 laps will measure fuel consumption with the windows up and the AC off. Now, this won't be a leisurely Sunday drive. SUVs aren't built for racetracks. Their tires certainly aren't. Also, the track is banked, and Jamie will have to concentrate all the way.
Jamie's going to hate this a lot more than I am. I mean, I'm not going to find it pleasant, but I get so much pleasure out of his discomfort. You know, Jamie, they regularly pull 160 miles per hour on this track. I'm not going to be laughing in a couple minutes when I'm plowing one of these behemoths across the lanes.
Jamie keeps the needle hovering at around 55 miles per hour. After 5 laps, with the windows up, the fuel consumption figures are in.
Right now we're averaging 11.7 miles to a gallon.
Now it's time to roll the windows down.
Repeat, roll the windows down.
Looks like we're averaging about 11.4 to 11.3 with all the windows down in the vehicle.
Jamie, you're doing great. You are a tribute to American individualism.
Wish I could see his face right now.
Well, it would be completely impassive. You wouldn't see a single change on it. That's windows up and AC on. Repeat, windows up and AC on. This is the last 5 laps.
We're averaging 11.7. Still averaging 11.7.
Jamie gets the checkered flag, but that SUV is no race car.
I gotta say, it's pretty intense, and I'm gonna be ill. We are going to be dead after this is over, as far from exhaustion.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I was starting to get a little more relaxed in it, trying just, you know, kind of laying back and kind of, you know, no big deal. But you have to focus. I mean, it was a real stretch for me even to open and close the windows doing that.
All right, so what was the difference in actual miles per gallon?
With the windows up and the AC on, it was right around 11.7 and 11.8. With the AC on and off, it didn't make a difference that much.
All right.
With the windows down, it was 11.3, and that's where it's making a difference at with the drag of the wind.
Wow, okay, that seems pretty significant over a full tank of gas.
Oh yeah, big time.
So clearly it's more efficient to drive with the windows up and the air conditioning on than to drive with the windows down.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what the computer said.
So that's that all figured out. Not quite. There's still a question mark. See, those figures are based on a computer model. That model assumes ideal conditions. Adam and Jamie like to test things out for themselves. That's why they're doing the Average Joe test.
Okay, everybody from Jamie's car, come on, get on the scale.
2 identical SUVs, 2 full tanks, and 2 identical payloads.
Everybody in Adam's car, let's get weighed in. Come on.
One SUV has the AC on, and the other has the window down. The logic is simple. The vehicle that uses the most gas will stop first. It'll be a 7-hour marathon, and the boys have to be prepared.
I got a whole regimen. I got bananas, I got cookies, I got candies, I got lots of coffee, and I got lots of music. Say,
on,
bring on
Jamie.
Jamie and the sludge.
Don't knock it till you've tried it.
Ugh. Think twice before accepting a dinner invitation to Jamie's house.
This is lunch.
Question is, has he already eaten it?
This particular batch I call the 444. It has 4 fruits, 4 vegetables, and 4 grains. It actually tastes quite nice. It's sort of like gazpacho.
Sure it does, Jamie, but how do you actually eat it?
Slit the corner of it. This is sort of dripping because I had to thaw it, and you just kind of go like that, and it down it goes.
Don't know how he's going to manage that while driving around a racetrack at 55 miles per hour.
I remember like 7 or 8 years ago when Jamie first came up with this idea. He was really proud of it, and it seemed to make real sense until he came in with this bag of suggestively colored sludge. And he began to, you know, these little baggies, he'd snip the corner off and just suck the stuff out of the corner of the bloody bag. And so we're like, no, you have to eat it like a human. You have to eat it with a spoon. We're all not able to eat because of what we're seeing here. Let's suffer together, brother.
Well, you know, and also remember, going at that speed on this track, if you have a blowout, it may not be a safe thing.
The boom lift myth's already been busted.
And Buster didn't even spill his coffee.
There's no way a person could be hurled 200 feet from a 60-foot boom lift under normal circumstances. But how about abnormal circumstances?
I'm getting my forklift lesson for the day.
Here's the plan. The 30,000-pound boom lift will be placed on top of 4 storage containers, with its front axle acting as a pivot point. The arm will be cocked, and when it's released, the massive weight of the swinging machine will catapult poor old Buster through space like medieval ammo. It's audacious, it's ludicrous, it's MythBusters. First, the containers have to be stacked.
Go up. Pull. You need to pull it so we get parallel. Yeah. Okay. Pull, Carrie. Okay, we're good here.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
That was teamwork.
I hope the rest of it is that easy.
You just totally jinxed us.
Oh, this is gonna be awesome. Can you imagine that 30,000-pound man lift just swinging through here? It's gonna be ridiculous. This is what I like. There's so much potential for a huge disaster.
I would clamp it from the top.
The containers will have to be reinforced to take the weight of the boom lift.
The engineering that we're doing here is just kind of gut and by seat of the pants. You know, we know how much this lift over here, the tosser, weighs, and we know how much those things weigh. We're eyeballing the thickness of the steel and the way that they're built and everything, and my money says that it'll hold just fine. This whole thing is just really one of the more extravagant stunts that we've done, I think. Hey, Carrie, make sure we extend it all the way out.
No problem.
Yeah, and now let's see whether we can do the same thing here.
The boom arm will be cocked by anchoring it to a weight.
I gotta say, you know, I don't think anybody's ever done this before. You know, this has to be a world first. Either that or it's just stupid.
Next, steel tubes have to be welded onto the front wheels. These have to support the whole boom lift as it swings down. So, it'd be nice if they didn't come off.
Measuring that hub, it's exactly 11 inches. And measuring this is exactly 12 inches, and you've got exactly half-inch stuff there. There's like no margin of error.
Well, that's why we have a round surface, round stock that we're shimming with.
Good thing Scotty's on the case. She's a welding wonder.
He's getting through it. He's a good student.
Thank you, Scotty. Thinking. It's easy to do things, not easy to think about what to do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Jamie's having one or two thoughts about Buster's trajectory.
We want to get the basket tilted forward as much as it'll go, unless it totally like dumps out, because as this comes over, he wants to, you know, if it's like ends up like this, it's more likely that he's going to get slammed down into the ground instead of the centrifugal force slinging him out as he goes up.
Okay, I got it.
The tosser still refuses to turn over.
Oh boy.
I think that's good enough.
Okay.
One way or another.
I'm gonna be a trapeze artist.
To make it more fun for you, we're going to have to maneuver this thing over closer to the containers, and that means that I'm going to drag it with the forklift, but you're going to have to steer it.
Like that?
Yeah.
We're nearing launch. Where's our catapultee?
All right, Buster, no more yoga. You're going in the basket.
Not without some more gentle persuasion.
Hold on, I'm stuck. Okay. Okay. There. Right now we've got Buster in the basket. Scotty and Tori are up on the lift trying to secure some braces. It's getting really exciting. We're just about to lift up with this giant boom lift. No matter what, it's gonna be something amazing. Either it's gonna take the whole thing down or it's gonna throw Buster across this lot.
The question is, how far?
Well, I mean, obviously the tradition is we always have to see if we can catch Buster by estimating his distance perfectly. So, I don't know. I think about another maybe 15 feet that way.
Got to be 100 times more, you know, thrust than what the Myth would have in it. You still don't think he's going to go a couple hundred feet?
No, I don't think he's going to go much farther than right about here.
It's almost time to crank up the crane. Jamie delivers one last safety pep talk.
Nobody gets under this thing. The crane or anything that's suspended, nowhere near it. You don't run across it because you forgot something or anything like that. Do not do that. It's totally, once this thing is up in the air, we're not getting near it. Our two failure points are going to be either the containers are going to buckle or those axle extensions are going to break the welds. So,
or both.
Or both.
Adam and Jamie are preparing to embark on a road trip up to 7 hours round Altamont Raceway, all to find out which gives you better fuel economy, turning on the AC or rolling down the windows. It'll be enough to give them white line fever, and it could get dangerous.
This test will not be fun. I'll have to pee, I'll probably have to poo before this thing is done. I'll have to be holding it in. Producer will be taunting me on the radio the whole time. His wheels are gonna be screeching. We'll have a tire blowout at some point, I'm sure.
And that's exactly the problem. At 55 miles per hour, the blowout danger is too great. Safety officials insist on a shorter test at a slower speed. Plan B, using this pump, the guys will empty the SUV's tanks and then put exactly 5 gallons of gas into each one. Seems like a good idea, but it's a lot easier to put gas into a car than to take it out.
Well, the plan seemed really simple, but in classic MythBusters style, bringing a couple of cars to a racetrack, running them till their fuel is gone. 5 hours into it, and we haven't gotten started yet.
As it turns out, the tires weren't going to last on this track for a full tank's worth. And so we're reducing the amount of gasoline that we're going to have to go through to run this test.
It's turning out to be a big job. Everybody has to take their turn at the pump. A little music helps pass the time. Finally, the gray SUV's empty. So it all starts again with the white one. At last, both tanks are dry.
Well, we're finally ready to do this bloody test. These cars are out of gas. We're putting in exactly 5 gallons in each car, and we're gonna drive them until they run out.
Looks like we're ready to roll. Well, almost ready.
Okay, there you go.
Ah, there we go. Ready to go.
It's gonna be cold in here.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Roger that, starting now.
Roger, starting. Now running.
And away we go.
Remember, these are identical vehicles carrying identical amounts of fuel and identical payloads. Because of safety concerns, Adam and Jamie will stick to 45 miles per hour. Jamie's gray SUV has the AC on full and the windows up. Adam's vehicle has the AC off and the windows down. 5 gallons of gas in each. Which will stop first?
We are cruising at 45 miles per hour.
Round and round they go. Where they stop, nobody knows.
It's getting pretty chilly in here. Glad I brought my coat. I pity the poor cameraman who doesn't have one on. It's kind of hard on your neck going around like this.
Remember, kids, this test is being done by professional drivers on a closed track. Your results may differ.
The computer test showed that blasting the AC was more fuel efficient than driving with the windows down. But what's this? Jamie's AC-cooled SUV is slowing down.
Yeah, I'm coasting now.
Jamie's car just crapped out, and mine's still going strong. At 45 miles per hour, looks like it's more fuel efficient to drive with your windows down than with your AC on. I don't get it.
So Adam, what do you think? Are you gonna keep running for another half hour or what?
I don't know. When I come in, I think we're just going to have to bust this myth and say that the fuel efficiency's better with your windows down than with your AC on.
Yeah, that's sort of what the test says, isn't it? Over.
I would not have called that at all. I'm really surprised. I'm shocked even.
30 laps later, Adam's naturally ventilated vehicle finally runs out of gas.
Oh, man. I feel like I'm leaving like this. That totally confounded my expectations.
There's no other way of interpreting it. We've gone over all of the facts of what went on here. I ran out first by running the AC.
Yeah, 15 miles ago. That's 30 laps that I did that you didn't do. I mean, I'm just like, I'm totally surprised, and I hope we've answered it once and for all.
Yeah, that's a significant difference in consumption, isn't it?
Let's go.
All right.
Windows versus AC, what's the verdict?
Well, the computer showed that it was actually better to run with the AC on. Not by much, but it was better.
I've got a little bit of a problem with that, which is the computer's actually measuring the airflow into the engine, not the fuel consumption of the engine. And it's basing its assessment on a computerized model under ideal circumstances.
Yeah, our average Joe test was pretty straightforward and kind of foolproof. You know, we put so much gas in, we ran for so long.
And it pretty definitively showed by almost 15% that running with the windows down was a lot more fuel efficient.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant difference.
So, AC being more fuel efficient, I'd say busted.
Busted.
Yeah.
The boom lift catapult's approaching critical mass.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This myth has already been busted. There's no way anyone could be thrown 200 feet from a 60-foot boom lift, unless, of course, the boom lift happens to be balanced on some shipping containers and rigged to go off like a medieval catapult. Buster's hanging on for dear life.
It's looking good, man. This is gonna be pretty awesome.
He was just touching that post.
Oh, okay. Slow down!
Christine, hold yours, Christine. That looks pretty good. That looks good there.
Stop! That's really good and centered.
No closer than that, Adam.
Yeah, I know.
Mine's in.
You can keep coming. Mine's gonna settle right in.
Okay.
Settling in. It's good.
Mine up. Well, the pipes will start to spread at some point.
Yeah, so we should hold there and tie off the quick release.
The containers seem to be bearing the weight of the boom lift.
We're not seeing any signs of stress on the containers or on the welds. So far so good.
Okay, I'm starting up, okay?
Yep.
Buster's a goner now.
Now the arm has to be lowered and caught.
Stay back over this way.
Adam takes the strain in the forklift. Buster begins his slow descent.
Everything looks just fine.
Roger that.
As he lowers into position, the body of the truck rises, putting strain on Scotty's axle extensions. If it's all going to come crashing down, now's the time.
Okay. Okay.
Buster's in position. The boom lift catapult is locked and loaded. Any last thoughts?
I think the whole damn thing's just gonna fall down.
I think there's about a 10% chance of the whole thing falling down, about a 40% chance of Buster actually flying any distance, and the other 50% is Buster going, boom, right in front of the thing.
Okay, let's see.
Gently.
All right, everybody just grab yourself a piece of the cable.
Looks like a tug-of-war team on the quick release cable.
Anybody that's not ready?
This is it. Time to answer the question, catapult or catastrophic?
On my count in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Whoops.
Yeah!
I don't think we're going to be returning this lift.
Oh my God!
Destruction.
In the container canyon, there's carnage. The tosser's taken its last load.
Oh my, look at the wheels popped off.
The wheels broke right off
So,
the
hey Adam, would you say it's safe to say that there won't be a second shot?
Buster isn't feeling 100% either. He really suffered at the end of the long arm of the law of gravity.
He lost both legs. His one leg separated and his hand ended up, 20 feet away.
Guys, congratulations. That's the most destruction Buster's taken in a single drop on any man.
Still, he's nowhere near the gurney.
The distance to the furthest body part, I'd say you got 65 feet.
Looks like Adam was on the money with his prediction.
I think the whole damn thing's just gonna fall down.
I think there's about a 10% chance of the whole thing falling down, about a 40% chance of Buster actually flying any distance, and the other 50% is Buster going, boom, right in front of the thing.
It was kind of a slow launch. I actually expected to go a lot faster.
Trebuchets tend to be much more anticlimactic when they begin.
Is it a true trebuchet without the rope at the end?
Not
though?
really, no. And we'll
So-
get lots of mail about it if I say it is.
Yeah, so that just helping you out here.
Thank you. What do you think, guys? Is the myth busted?
Oh, myth totally failed. Completely busted. Totally, completely busted.
And Buster, busted. And boom lift, busted.
Everything's busted.
To the ground, busted.
So you guys gonna stick around for the cleanup?
No, we're gonna go have some lunch for secret later.
Great.
Bye, thanks for helping with the fun part.
MythBusters.
Breaking big things for science every day.
Oh.
All right, still rolling.
The MythBusters are leaping into the unknown in their search for scientific truth.
Because I can hear it very clearly under there, and it sounds like a bad thing.
Could a scuba diver be sucked up by a firefighting helicopter and dropped into the middle of the flames? What really happens when you add mothballs to your gas tank?
It does say, warning, flammable.
And is Hollywood telling us the truth? Will a car really explode if you shoot the gas tank?
You may commence firing.
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
Quack, damn you.
I wouldn't say Jamie's an evil genius.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
When will the fun ever stop?
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. It's big, it's red, it's dangerous, and it's got Adam really excited.
Ooh, God, this is good feeling.
But what's it got to do with scuba divers and forest fires?
Well, the story goes that a scuba diver was found in a tree in the middle of a charred forest about 50 miles inland. And the speculation was that the scuba diver was scooped up by one of those firefighting helicopters or airplanes and dumped in the forest.
That sounds like one of the worst ways to go I can imagine. One minute you're swimming in the water, next minute you're deposited into a burning tree.
Folklorist Heather Joseph Witham knows all about this well-traveled myth.
This story has been around at least since 1987. It appeared as an internet story attached to something called the California Examiner, which is the newspaper that doesn't really exist. Now, this story has numerous variations. It appears in Australia, it appears in British Columbia, and it appears in France. It shows up in a CSI episode. You have it in the 1999 film Magnolia, and in Peter Mail's novel, A Year in Provence.
Well, I think the first thing we've got to do is actually research some of these water-gathering planes and helicopters used for firefighting and see if this is even remotely possible.
Since the 1940s, firefighters have used water dropped from aircraft to help control forest fires. Some fixed-wing aircraft skim water from the surface of lakes and oceans. But the Martin Mars, the biggest water bomber in the world, has an intake scoop only 6 inches in diameter, far too small to fit a scuba diver. However, the myth may be possible with a helicopter. One of the most successful helicopter-borne systems is known as the Bambi bucket.
We're out here at Oakland Airport, where actually the airport police have been kind enough to let us view their Bambi bucket, which they dangle from this very helicopter.
I've heard the myth before, but when I heard it, he was laying on the ground and burned to death instead of being up in a tree.
The best way to think about a Bambi bucket is it's kind of like an upside-down parachute with a hole in the center. They drop it from the helicopter, they lower it into water, and as they come up, it fills with water. They get to a location they want to drop it, and they actually pull a cable right here, and it releases the valve and dumps 120 gallons on the fire. So this is the Bambi bucket?
Yes.
It's cute. It's tiny.
All the helicopters are equipped with a mirror, so reasonably anybody should see someone in a Bambi bucket struggling.
Oh my God, it's a scuba diver! Quick, hit him with a rocket-propelled grenade!
There's just no way a scuba diver will fit into this Bambi bucket.
I think our work here is done. I think it's time to look for something bigger.
Bigger is better.
Bigger is always better.
Actually, you know, I was thinking about this, and they have these things called Erickson sky cranes. They're huge helicopters. They have a tank, and they have a hose coming down out of the tank. There's a pump on the end of the hose. Conceivably, there could be enough suction created on the end of that hose that it could actually suck a diver onto it, presumably on his torso, and then pick him up and carry him away.
The Erickson is Jamie's kind of chopper. It weighs in at 10 tons, can lift 2,000 gallons of water, and maybe a scuba diver.
Yeah, the helicopter with the pump, it is the only one with active suction. I mean, I guess it's conceivable that it could work. I'm a little dubious, though.
This is the perfect MythBusters scenario where we have about 3 or 4 days to build something that took some engineers like 10 years to develop. And I understand that what's inside these pumps, these things that they have on the end of helicopters, is actually just a propeller blade. It's not that unlike what's on the end of an outboard. So let's get an outboard and reorient it. We do a little welding. We're there.
We get to start with a trip to the boat store and go shopping?
You bet.
All right.
Now there's one that would suit us.
Whoa!
That's a 225.
That's massive. I feel like I walked into the wrong world.
It's 200 horsepower. I mean, this is massive stuff, so.
While Jamie talks serious horsepower, Adam gets nostalgic with some vintage outboards.
It looks just like a robot from Star Wars.
What's going on here? I think I found my boat. Let's see if Jamie's done talking. Not likely, but maybe we can get out of here today.
Jamie loves mechanical muscle. He wants an outboard powered by 225 horses.
The fact that we're using a 225 means that we can even run it at half throttle, still get a horsepower range that's well above what the Myth involves.
Right.
Always on the lookout for a bargain, the MythBusters have tracked down a second-hand outboard across town.
225 horsepower is a lot of horsepower. Turning a 13 or 14-inch propeller. Yeah, that's a lot of horsepower.
Yeah, look, he giggles like a schoolgirl. It's so cute.
But the pump requires a lot more than just an outboard motor. And this means a trip to the MythBusters' favorite junkyard.
Just take this home.
We came here last year looking for a tank for the chicken cannon. We're here this time looking for a funnel, which is kind of hard to make, actually. And they just have stuff like that here.
Over here, guys. This cone just saved us 2 days of work.
It looks like it might just make it, you know.
As usual, Adam's impatience gets the better of him.
So, Jamie, he doesn't know that we've got the perfect one sitting right here, blathering on. It's perfect. This is the one. This is the one we're going to use. Take it home.
Unfortunately, the funnel is part of a much bigger lot and can't be separated. Bummer.
The whole thing right here. That piece.
Adam's plan is stymied, and he's getting irritated.
And you've got flanges.
Yeah,
we could potentially we could be done with this just by cutting that funnel off and welding it onto one of these flanges.
Totally agree.
And we're done with the whole piece.
I'm totally down with that. But I can see Jamie, you know, oh well, maybe if we cut it down on the lathe and then, you know, cast it and mold it in a different material and then sent it away to be replicated by some military organization, you know, it'd be pretty simple. One of his ridiculous solutions. Can't believe that guy.
Adam's anger evaporates quickly, especially if there's a big tank to play in.
Hey, Adam, did you hear the guy tell us what this was for?
What was it for?
It was like fecal matter.
At last, Jamie finds the right funnel.
But it is separable from the other machinery, and I figure like it'd end up about there.
Looks like I have to eat my words. I'm sorry, Jamie.
The entire rig will have to be mounted on a forklift crane. This requires a frame of box section steel that the forklift's forks, or tines, can fit into. As Jamie buys the steel, he assumes that all forklift tines are the same size. That's Jamie's first mistake.
Damn, I thought we had gotten specs on these. That's why we picked this stuff.
I thought you had gotten specs on them.
I did.
Apparently not. The single central idea of this was the tines of the forklift fitting into our rig, and they don't.
But before the MythBusters build their scuba pump, it's time to hit the road. There are more than 600 million cars in the world today, and almost as many myths about them. Sounds like fertile ground for a pair of myth-busting motor mouths.
All right, Jamie, what's on the agenda now? What's the myth we're going to hit?
Well, there are all sorts of myths to do with cars, and we're going to test them, every one of them. You going to donate your car?
No.
Why not?
I'm not putting sugar in my gas tank and shooting it full of holes.
Well, what are we going to do then?
Actually, I got an interesting and intriguing email from a fan the other day, and he just might be willing to donate his car to the cause. So why don't we go check out what he's got?
Let's do it.
All right.
But who would be crazy enough to give their car to Adam and Jamie?
That's a Caddy, all right. My grandma had a car like that.
It's Cadillac Ben.
You saw us on TV and you figured, I'll take it to them. They'll blow it up.
I was hoping, yeah.
Webster's dictionary defines Cadillac as something that is the most luxurious or highest quality of its kind. And since the first Caddy rolled off the line in 1902, many consider them to be the epitome of motoring style and elegance. Until now. Ben's Caddy needs plenty of mechanical help, so our resident gearhead, Scotty Chapman, swings into action.
Okay, sound effects may be needed if it doesn't start. Make me look good. Come on, baby!
Come on, baby!
What's a gas gauge say?
It's a little above empty.
Huh.
It's the gas. It's very James Bond. I think we may be onto something here.
Yeah!
Oh, yes!
Yeah.
Come on! Everything's better with gas.
So this is sort of an historic moment, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we bought cars for the show before and, used them for a myth and sometimes two, but here we got an opportunity to see how many myths we can actually do with this one vehicle and if it's still around at the end of the show.
Yeah, we're going to have our share of fun abusing it, just like Buster.
I can't wait. I think we really need to christen it with a name.
Well, you got any ideas?
Earl.
Earl it is.
Earl the Caddy. All right, Earl.
It's time to put those motoring myths to the test.
What are we going to start with?
Well, we have all this produce that we're going to shove up the tailpipe and see what happens. You're going to stand back there with a catcher's mitt.
It's a classic college prank to block a car's tailpipe with a piece of food. But will the car really stall?
That's supposed to eat the props. I think with the big engine in this car, whatever we put up that exhaust pipe is probably going to come out pretty quickly.
That's why we've got our high-speed camera trained on Earl's tailpipe. Time to fire one.
Lock and load.
Artilleryman Adam selects his ammo.
That's the one. Go ahead and start the car.
Firing.
That was magnificent.
That Spud is out of there. But a Mythbuster always wants more. Adam loads the potato deeper into the tailpipe.
Potato stuffed in there like a good 20 inches. I'm ready when you are.
That one is flying, but there's no effect on the car's engine. The banana is longer and thinner. Maybe it'll do the job.
Banana is fully inserted. You're ready to fire.
All right, firing.
That banana slips right out.
Kill it! It was like that.
Maybe an egg is the answer.
Fire when ready.
Firing.
All right, kill it.
The egg's airborne, but it doesn't stall the car. Looks like whatever foodstuff you stuff up there comes right back out again.
It's gonna throw it about as fast as you could throw it. It's not that hard.
So it's busted.
Yeah, I'd say totally busted.
Can a firefighting helicopter actually suck up a scuba diver? An air crane helitanker is the chief suspect. The Mythbusters are recreating the helitanker's scuba-sucking power by using a 225 horsepower outboard motor and a funny hat. The outboard weighs 500 pounds, so just moving it around is a major headache.
We could try and pick this up by with the forks, like tip it up.
We get 6 people on this and we just manhandle it up on there. Many hands make light work.
That's it's possible.
David doesn't like to do anything hastily, and I like to do everything incredibly hastily. So therein you have the dichotomy of our patterns.
After the manhandling,
perfect.
A frame for the outboard is welded together.
Go for it.
Then, the original drive shaft is removed from the outboard. For the scuba diver pump, they'll have to build a new and much longer drive shaft. Because it'll be spinning at high RPM, the shaft must be accurately machined on a lathe.
A sealed U-joint is really quite a beautiful thing.
The propeller is cut down and carefully balanced to avoid vibrations.
We're mounting the propeller the wrong way around.
That's so that rather than pushing the water down, it'll be sucked up toward the outboard. To control the water flow, the shaft must be encased in a heavy steel pipe.
What we need to finish the scuba diver rig is a pipe with a 10-inch ID, an inside diameter. We happen to have the leftover chicken gun barrel, which is just the perfect size, and I want to cut it up. It takes up too much damn room. 2, 1.
But Adam loves his chicken cannon.
I don't think that cutting up the chicken cannon is a good idea. We're never going to get around to rebuilding it. No one's ever going to give us the time to do it, and it's gone. It's gone forever.
There's chicken guts in here.
Well, so much for Adam's feelings. The chicken cannon is carved up in the quest for the super scuba pump. Adam gets his chicken cannon revenge by playing around with Jamie's crisp white shirt.
I'm differentiating myself from Jamie. Come on.
Did you mess? Is that your shirt? What are you doing with my clothes?
How come you're not wearing your crisp white shirt? You're supposed to differentiate yourself. Now I got to wear it until you put it back on.
Is that your shirt? What are you doing? You know, mess with your own clothes. Take it off. Put it back where you got it.
I think he's serious.
Now that the shirt thing is sorted out, we can get back to work. The shaft is fitted inside the pipe, and Adam describes in detail what will happen to the pumped water.
Shoot up that way. Like that. Just a godly torrent of water.
That torrent will be vented away from the motor by angling the pipe. Scotty welds the two cut halves of the pipe together. She knows there's something not quite right.
Oh, I know what it is. It's the chicken that I'm burning that's messing with my weld. Getting little bubbles of chicken vapor.
I have several problems to solve before I start to triangulate. Man, it never ends. Just a ton of little things. A host of little things to solve.
In his rush to problem solve, Adam makes a key mistake. He suspends both the outboard and the pipe from the forklift. So when he moves the motor, the pipe shifts too.
Hey, Scotty, I need your help.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is this what the crash in the was?
Yeah.
Oh.
The problem grows worse when the temporary stand collapses. The build team shifts into high gear.
Yeah. I'm trying to make sure the drive shaft doesn't get tweaked.
Right.
If it's not already.
Adam knows the shaft is vulnerable. If it bends, then 3 days' work will be lost.
Any luck?
It's a tense moment for the entire team.
Grab this one and cut it. Come on. It's whatever it takes.
I know, I'm getting it.
Stick that under there when I lift the thing up. Okay, lower the forklift, please.
Crisis averted. The shaft is okay, and pump construction can continue.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Done?
We're good, yes.
Okay.
Oblivious to the drama, Jamie finds a water tub for the rig's test run.
This thing, if it works well, is going to launch something like a Volkswagen out the end of that tube every few seconds.
The funnel from the junkyard has to be measured and cut down to fit the pipe.
Boy, I tell you, if you turn this thing on, that would be a hell of a cleansing.
I can't gnaw on my arm. Ow!
Finally, the pump is ready for its maiden voyage.
It's like a pageant for my baby.
Mounted on a forklift and weighing close to 1,000 pounds, the MythBusters rig is a recreation of the water pump on a firefighting helicopter. It's made from a second-hand outboard motor and a cut-up chicken cannon. What are the odds this thing will actually work?
I would say we have about a 25% chance of nothing whatsoever happening, about a 50% chance of something bad happening, and then the other 50% chance is that it's going to work.
Jamie, that's 125%.
Well, so sue me.
Just in case nothing does happen, Adam is quite happy to pretend. And the crowd is puzzled.
Are you on the throttle?
Can we just get on with it? Go for it!
It's just a simple matter of turning the ignition key. Maybe not that simple.
What's going on?
Push key in for full choke.
He had one job to do on this whole thing.
They gave us the wrong key. I called them up and the key doesn't match. What are you supposed to do?
While the right key is found, build team members Carrie Byron and Scotty prepare Buster for his underwater date with destiny.
How do they get these on? And we're gonna get him into a scuba suit?
This sure beats Buster's usual treatment.
Maybe we should grease him.
Let's grease Buster. With some lard.
This dummy has never had it so good.
Not getting away, pal.
But Buster fights back.
Oh! Hey!
The sun is shining, the right key's been found, and the MythBusters Super Pump is ready for a test run. Jamie fires her up.
Give it a little gas.
Give it a little?
Yeah. Ready again?
Yeah, let's do that again.
It works.
Yeah, I think it actually works. I think we'll actually get our 3,000 gallons per minute.
The pump works, but it's still not finished.
What we have left to do is that we have to make a rig to hold a big hose for the output, and that's going to be a tough job, actually. Then we have to mount the screen on the bottom to replicate the real thing. It's a guard to keep things from, like fish, from getting sucked up into it. And finally, we're going to paint it red so that it looks like firefighting equipment.
I can't believe how long this took to build, considering this is totally not going to work.
I wouldn't want to be next to this when it's running in the water anyway, because we built it, and it's, you know, just as like as not to fly apart and, you know, send a propeller blade through my head or something like that.
And our resident folklorist can make plenty from death by propeller.
People like dumb way to die stories, particularly in some form of accident, and this seems like a plausible kind of accident. You could just get scooped up one day and there you go. That's why there's that familiar injunction, always wear clean underwear, because you never know what's going to happen.
Adam and Jamie have been given a car.
That's a caddy, all right. My grandma had a car like that.
And now they're trying to destroy it.
Firing.
Inserting potatoes didn't stall the engine. Time for something more hardcore.
A cracked engine block can cost you hundreds of dollars in repairs.
Engine additives are designed to improve your car's performance, but MythBusters additives are a little different.
Don't let winter freeze-up happen to you.
So now it's time to move on to putting stuff in the gas tank.
Yeah, and we really want to see what's going on. So, you know, I don't think it's going to work to just do it in the car. I think we either need to pull the engine out of the car or get another engine.
It'll help to have a see-through gas tank, too. Because of the fire risk, the gas tank must remain separate from the engine. So Adam welds together a gas tank stand. And in case one of the explosive myths turns out to be dangerously on target, blast screens are erected around the engine. Scotty starts her up.
Cool. Nicely done. So the first myth is that drain clog remover poured into the gas tank will make the engine explode. Shall we do it?
Yeah.
The drain clog remover goes in. Time passes, and the engine's still purring.
It definitely has to have sucked it up by now, and I don't notice a darn thing. I mean, the idle speed hasn't changed at all.
And then suddenly, nothing happened.
I'm noticing a distinct lack of an explosion.
Other than the internal combustion.
Okay, okay.
Maybe revving the engine will do the trick.
Come on, Jamie, use that aim.
But the engine survives this myth. It's running just fine.
Kill it. I say kill it.
So, liquid drain cleaner.
Fully busted.
Before the next test can start, the gas tank must be drained and every last trace of drain clog remover removed.
Thank you.
The tank is carefully resealed and filled with fresh gasoline. Time for some myth busting.
Okay, Al.
He never learns, does he?
Let's move on to bleach.
Cool.
All right.
Contact.
Oh, it starts off purrs like a kitten.
Must be clean.
Nice work on that.
And in goes the MythBusters brand bleach. Jamie revs it up. Adam hams it up. And everything's fine. Until...
There we go.
We got it cut out?
Yeah.
All right, so the bleach just stopped the car from running, did it? I mean, it just cut out?
Yeah.
I'd say it's plausible.
And the bleach has another trick up its white sleeve. Next morning, the boys discover the hard way that bleach is an oxidizing agent. In other words, it makes steel rust.
Next time you start your engine, you're going to be sucking a whole lot of rust and particles from the tank as a result of all that corrosion down into the engine, and then you're done.
On to the next test. And Jamie doesn't sound too enthusiastic.
I'm getting ready to put sugar in the gas tank.
So wannabe director Adam tries to get some more emotion.
All right, Jamie, here's your motivation. It's the middle of the night. You hate your neighbor because he's always throwing loud parties. So you're gonna go to his car, you're gonna pour sugar in it. Go! Action!
Method actor Jamie passionately pours sugar into the tank.
He'll stop throwing parties now. Let's start the engine.
All right. Ready?
Ready?
Adam uses his new throttle control before embarking on another method acting fantasy.
He's driving along. He makes a left-hand turn. He comes to a stop. It's like a time bomb.
Careful you don't make any sparks on the ground there, big boy.
Okay.
The engine just keeps on running, so the boys leave it overnight, hoping the sugar will really mess things up.
It's time to see if our engine will actually start this morning with its sugared gas tank.
Well, what do you know? There's more sugar in that tank than gas, but it works. Go figure.
I'd say sugar in the gas tank, totally busted.
Gas tank myths. Drain clog remover, busted. Bleach, plausible. Sugar, busted. What's next?
Well, there's a myth going around that putting mothballs in your gasoline will be like putting high-octane fuel in your engine.
Really?
It does say, warning, flammable.
Adam pours his gas and mothball highball into the tank.
Seems steady to me.
Gradually, the MythBusters notice a change in the engine note.
It's starting to sputter.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it likes it.
Just to be certain, Adam revs the engine. The transformation is amazing. The engine sounds great.
Actually, that does sound kind of good, doesn't it?
Sounds much better than before.
Hear for yourself. This is before mothballs. And this is after mothballs.
You know, barring like a bunch of instrumentation, I'd say on the face of it, we might have very well put a more high-octane fuel in this engine.
So the MythBusters have shown that a few mothballs in the tank seems to increase the octane of your gas. We're not recommending it because the mothballs may have some negative effect on your engine too. But one thing's for certain, you won't have any moths in your motor. When Cadillac Ben gave Adam and Jamie his car, the MythBusters made a solemn promise.
You saw us on TV and you figured, I'll take it to them. They'll blow it up.
I was hoping, yeah.
We will do our best.
And the place to try it is the strictly controlled environment of the Chabot Marksmanship Range, under the watchful eye of some local firefighters.
So Adam, what are we doing out here with all these guns in this car?
Well, the MythBusters Caddy is actually going to help us put a very famous myth to rest, one that is constantly perpetuated by Hollywood, which is if you shoot a car in its gas tank, will it actually explode?
In countless Hollywood movies, a well-placed slug will cause the spectacular detonation of an auto. Will Earl be the next one to explode? The MythBusters know all firearms are dangerous and should only be used responsibly and in a safe environment. So, do not try this at home. To test this myth, Jamie will have to shoot the Cadillac's gas tank.
Commence fire.
There's gas in the tank, and the bullets are definitely hitting it. But there's no explosion. The waiting firefighters look almost disappointed.
Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all right in a row. Oh, yep, you punctured that gas tank quite neatly. And I'll bet you went right through the other side.
Jamie's shots went clear through the tank.
Now there's one that's right out the bottom there.
Ah, so you're right.
So will shooting a car's gas tank actually set it on fire?
Actually, not like in the movies, it won't explode. You did a really nice cluster there, right through the gas tank, no problem at all.
Went in, came out the other side, nothing.
No explosion.
There you go.
Take the safeties off.
Time to put car shooting myth number 2 to the test.
You may commence firing.
And the reason for this target practice? The Hollywood myth that hiding behind a car door will stop you from getting shot. The myth is thoroughly tested when 50 rounds are fired into the driver's door.
I suspect that we went all the way through the car, Jamie.
What makes you think that, Adam?
Earl's door resembles Swiss cheese, and it'll take some major detailing to fix his interior.
You know, Jimmy, I think we can safely say that unlike the movies, being behind a car door if you're in a gunfight is not a safe place to be. Every bullet that came through here came out here. It's pretty obvious. This is not where you'd want to be. I think the best advice is just don't get in a gunfight.
I'd agree.
Because it has a pump, the air crane helitanker may be able to suck up an unsuspecting scuba diver and drop him into a forest fire, as per the myth. Adam and Jamie have built a pump and are about to test it out on Buster.
We're at one of our regular testing facilities in Senal High School out in Alameda has allowed us to use their pool before, and we've dunked some things in it and done some tests, and we're about to do another one. We're about to pump 3,000 gallons a minute out of this pool, actually.
Come on forward. Go ahead and lower it down.
And here's where Adam discovers Jamie's boo-boo with the decision about steel framing.
They won't fit in there. 5 1/2, 5 7/8.
Damn, I thought we had gotten specs on these. That's why we picked this stuff.
I thought you had gotten specs on them. I thought you had made that phone call.
I did.
And ordered the steel appropriately.
I did.
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
The single central idea of this was the tines of the forklift fitting into our rig, and they don't.
We have a small problem due to the fact that the tines are slightly larger than we had anticipated in the rig.
It really pissed me off that, you know, that the central idea of our rig is not gonna work.
If Adam's upset, that's his problem, it's not mine.
As usual, the MythBusters find a way round the problem. The forklift tines are lashed under the frame, and the rig is stable, kind of.
Now we get to walk like an Egyptian.
In order not to damage the concrete pool decks, a plywood track is laid for the forklift. It's a back-breaking job.
Boring.
Next to be unloaded is the tank for testing the pump's capacity.
Drag away.
And it's the same deal with the plywood again. Meanwhile, the star of the show waits patiently. Outboard motor expert Jay is drafted onto the MythBusters team. Finally, it's time for a full-scale test run. The pump is lowered into position. The rig works, and Adam's thrilled. But the sun is setting, and it looks like the scuba diver test will have to wait. Meanwhile, there's more motoring myths to bust.
So the myth is that if you have a bone dry radiator, you can start your car safely by putting cola in your cooling system?
From the first time primitive man went out for a Sunday drive, our biggest automotive fear has been the breakdown.
Piece of junk.
Well, what do we do now?
Call the MythBusters, of course.
Cola in your radiator? What's your prediction?
And I think it'll be fine. It'll probably foam up a bit, and it probably isn't very good on it because the sugar's going to caramelize from the heat.
Yeah.
But it's not going to stop the engine real quick. It's going to work. You know, it'll work as a coolant.
First, we drain the radiator.
It's bone dry. You got some cola for me? Oh, yeah. Let me make sure this is real cola.
Adam will make any sacrifice to bust a myth.
I always drink MythBusters cola.
Watch out for radiator reflux.
Oh! I'm now standing in a melange of cooling fluid, gasoline, and cola.
And we're only just getting started.
I picture the guy who's doing this and his girlfriend's going, "Honey, are you sure that's okay?" And he's like, "Don't you worry, darling. This cola's gonna make this baby purr like a kitten."
Time for the cola additive test.
All right, ready to go. Let's start it up. We'll let it run for a while.
So far, the engine seems to be enjoying its cola refreshment, but Adam has obviously sampled too
I'm gonna go
much.
to the bathroom.
Those cola bubbles are really building up. Maybe it's time to quit.
The hell was that?
A little back pressure.
So, cola in the radiator, what's your verdict?
Well, wouldn't want to do it for long, but this one's plausible.
Yeah, I'd say it's plausible.
But what do you do if there's a hole in your radiator and you don't have a product to fix it?
We want to find out if you're on the road and your radiator's got a leak and you got no other options. If you crack an egg into the radiator, will it plug that hole? Plug away. Oh. Ooh. Hey, Jamie, we got a leak there.
Is that too big of a leak?
No, I'd say that's a standard leak.
Adam wears a protective mask. Those eggs are real.
I have never put an egg into a radiator before. In fact, this whole myth of things that seem like really silly ideas. All right.
Starting.
All right.
Gotta give it a little time.
Yeah, we'll give it some time and see what it does. I mean, I can see it's still leaking.
And then something extraordinary happened.
It stopped.
I mean, it looks like it stopped right away.
Could it be that this actually works quite well? Better than the commercial product?
That's far out. I swear, I wouldn't want to do it as a permanent solution, but egg in the radiator?
Most engines eat gas, water, and oil. The MythBusters test engine has a diet of drain clog remover, bleach, mothballs, sugar, cola, and eggs. And it's still running. Our next motor myth states, if a piece of metal as tiny as a penny is dropped into an engine's carburetor, it will fall deep inside the engine and destroy it.
Penny in the carburetor, only because you asked for it.
Here we go. Oh yeah, he's tossing a penny into the carb. All right, I'm gonna rev it a little bit.
The increased rev should move the penny even deeper. Will the engine slow down or blow up?
Nothing happened.
Well,
I'm gonna go in there and look.
Yeah, why don't you go in there and look? Take a look. Take a look. Take a look for that penny.
It's just, the penny's just sitting there.
You gonna shove it in further, honey?
Down she goes. Okay, we're good to go.
All right, here we go.
I hear it, I think.
Yeah.
That penny is taking a pounding, but the engine's still running.
It's definitely not ruining the engine, but I do swear that I hear it like knocking around in there, and that can't be great. Given that tossing a penny into the carburetor is supposed to ruin your engine, our engine's still running fine. I call that busted.
Yeah, MythBusters.
Well, we did a lot to this engine, but I think we might have saved the worst for last.
Yeah, bleach in the engine oil. It's supposed to ruin the lubrication. It'll, make the thing heat up really quickly and seize up, is the myth.
Putting bleach in the gas tank was meant to stop the engine, but putting bleach in the oil is meant to destroy it.
Feel like that's enough?
That's nasty. That can't be good for that engine. Look at the breather.
Yeah, the breather's shooting out lots of smoke. Come on!
That's got to be some nasty stuff coming out of that tube right now.
Things are starting to heat up. Like a pair of evil geniuses, Adam and Jamie gloat over the engine's demise.
It doesn't sound good. I mean, it's smoking all over the place. This engine's overheating. The steam is just shooting out of the radiator.
It's singing its death song.
As usual, the prospect of imminent destruction gets Adam totally wired.
Only a couple more miles, man! We gotta get home!
And the fumes are getting worse. The noise and smell are incredible. Wouldn't the MythBusters make great neighbors?
This is the last revolutions this engine will ever make. Well, the engine got so hot that it started to set fire to the wooden cart it's sitting on.
It's still probably pumping oil around, but it's probably pretty well screwed. It may well, be seizing itself in place right now from overheat. I think that was really hard on the engine at the very least.
You think?
Looks like they finally killed it. And to prove just how hot an engine can get with bleach in its oil,
You can fry an egg on the exhaust of this thing. Well, Jamie, we've got an engine here with bleach in its engine oil.
And there's a penny in the carburetor.
We got an egg in the radiator.
And we put sugar in the gas last night.
Yeah.
Gotta love the American small block.
It's a fitting end to car capers.
but will there be a fitting end for Buster when he plays the mythical scuba diver scooped up and dumped into a forest fire? Adam will be right there with him, but first he needs a wetsuit.
Have you ever heard of anything that might lead you to believe this myth is possible?
First time I heard it, I didn't believe it, and I heard it subsequently happening in other places like in Canada or in the Midwest, and I never believed it.
Believe it or not, the MythBusters are putting this underwater myth to the test. The Erickson air crane helitanker can suck up 2,000 gallons of water in 45 seconds. The MythBusters' homemade outboard motor pump must be able to replicate those figures by filling this 2,000-gallon tank in 45 seconds.
Based on what we've seen so far, it's pretty promising that we'll fill the tank in the required time, in 45 seconds or less.
The water must get from the pump to the tank via a very heavy 10-inch diameter hose.
What about irrigation pipe? Didn't we talk about irrigation pipe? Like it's really light, I could lift a length this long?
How are you going to hold it on there?
I would consider that solving the problem of holding it on there vastly simpler than lifting a 500-pound sweaty donkey.
Tensions are gonna run high, claws are gonna come out, steam is gonna come out of ears.
Worldwide wrestling of nerds.
Oh, it's great. Look at that.
Adam, you should probably not stand underneath that right now. I'm not sure why, but... Our first task is to hook up the pump to the big hose and try to fill the tank and see how fast it goes. If we get it going really quickly and it fills up according to the specs on the real device, on the real firefighting device, then we know that we're going to have a valid test here, even if we're in the ballpark. And for all we know, it may actually outperform the real one.
As Adam hangs off the end of the forklift boom, build team member Tori makes a shocking discovery.
Warning, do not lift personnel. Do not use boom or attachment for lifting personnel. Lifting personnel may result in death or serious injury. It's the MythBuster way.
Adam ties the pipe to the tank, but how's he going to get down from there? Time to find out if the MythBusters pump will measure up to the helicopter original.
Ready? Go for it.
They need to fill this 2,000-gallon tank in under 45 seconds. But the effort of pushing the water up the extra 15 feet is too much for the outboard.
Keep it up! What was that? Come on! What happened?
She died.
So where were we?
That was 18 seconds it got halfway there. That's way ahead of 3,000 gallons per minute. Would totally beat 3,000 gallons a minute. Who's gonna do it in like 30 seconds?
A quick test to check that the outboard is okay.
All right.
Yeah,
I think that's good. Ooh, God, this is good feeling.
Yeah, that's why you...
The tank and hose are removed, and Buster steps up to the plate. We know our pump is at least as strong as the Erickson air crane. But can either of them suck a scuba diver out of the water and hold him long enough to get to a forest fire? Let's find out. Adam pushes Buster toward the intake funnel, but there seems to be no suction.
I got him right up under that thing, under its full pressure. He like lazily delayed a little bit and then sunk right back down. There was just not enough suction to hold him. I mean, his tank was in the way, everything was in the way.
That was a lot of water coming out the other end, though.
And I have to tell you, if you were a diver and you heard that sound,
You'd go the other direction.
I think you'd go in the other direction, because I can hear it very clearly under there, and it sounds like a bad thing.
But the MythBusters are determined to see Buster firmly attached to that pump. The funnel and guard are removed from the pipe, and Buster is stripped of his tank.
So we're pulling off the cowling, and we're gonna try him right on the end of the pipe. That's the worst case scenario. They don't run those machines like that, but that's what we're gonna try and see if there's enough suction at all.
Is Buster about to make the ultimate MythBusters sacrifice? It's got him. Buster is held fast. Maybe the myth is no myth. But as soon as he breaks the surface, the pump sucks air and revs dangerously.
Was there a failure of the machine?
Negative. I was stopping it from over-revving.
Without the pressure of the water, the pump's motor would over-rev and disintegrate. But an exploding outboard holds no fear for the MythBusters. They want to try again. Adam really gives Buster a shove. The pump sucks, but only till the battered dummy breaks the surface.
That is so busted!
It pulled him up out of the water a little bit.
A little bit short of a forest fire. Well, that's gotta suck. I'm glad I didn't try it. There's pieces of his wetsuit all over the pool.
Well, that's a hell of a hickey he's got going there.
I have to say the amount of suction under the pool was actually pretty impressive. I'm looking up in the mouth of this just like satanic swirling thing of death, and I just kind of got him near it, and he went like this. I mean, it was just like a magnet. It was incredible. There's no way that suction's going to carry him above the water. It's going to suck onto him under the water, but once it leaves, that pump needs to be primed the whole time with water, and he'll cavitate it, and he'll just drop off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think this ends the debate once and for all. This one's busted.
Okay.
On this episode of MythBusters, anyone for table tennis? Adam and Jamie plunge to new depths when they try to salvage a sunken sailboat in the silliest of fashions. Just how many ping pong balls would it take to float your boat? And how many balloons before you lose your kid at the carnival?
I think my arm is about to be ripped out of its socket.
Welcome to the Float-a-thon. Who are the MythBusters?
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
Quack, damn you.
I wouldn't say Jamie's an evil genius.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
When will the fun ever stop?
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. What happens if your ship catches on fire and sinks in the harbor? Can you bring it back from the bottom? And how about if all you have on hand are ping pong balls?
Well, Jamie, your years as a captain of a ship down in the Caribbean is going to serve you well for this myth, ping pong ball salvage.
Yeah, it actually seems pretty familiar to me because in those days I formed a salvage company and we actually raised a sunken sailboat using garbage bags just by filling one bag up at a time. And this is actually pretty similar, except we're going to be using thousands and thousands of ping pong balls to do it.
These, to raise a ship.
Yeah.
Off the bottom of the ocean.
That's the myth.
Salvage companies use large flotation bags, which are usually filled with air while on the ocean floor. A slightly different technique was used to raise a piece of Titanic's hull in 1998. The big piece weighed in at 20 tons and took 5 giant bags to lift, each filled with 6,000 gallons of lightweight propane. But in the 1940s, Donald Duck and his nephews had the comical idea of using ping pong balls for underwater salvage. Now, the Duck has made its way into the MythBusters Hall of Fame.
You know, one of the first questions that comes to my mind, Jamie, is how much buoyancy does a ping pong ball have? And actually, how much space a whole bunch of ping pong balls occupies.
Huh.
What he's trying to say is they need to know some numbers before they can even consider this wacky myth. Like precisely how many ping pong balls will lift how much weight in water.
I'm going to zero out my digital scale. Then I'm going to fill this top cup with exactly 1 pound of buckshot and then see how many ping pong balls it takes to negate that 1 pound of buckshot.
If it takes too many balls, this myth may have to remain in the realm of fantasy. Jamie's skeptical about Adam's rig.
Are we going to get like a 30-foot long tong for the real thing?
It takes a fair amount of force to push it down there. The math says 15 balls.
So what's the problem? You don't believe the math?
Well, we never believe the math on MythBusters. Oh.
That's great, Adam. I'll see you later. Let me know when you get that all worked out.
Luckily, Adam is less fragile than his rig. He resets the experiment and tries again. When the cup containing the ping pong balls floats upwards, he has his answer.
That actually confirms my math. I think that was exactly 15 balls to eliminate a pound of weight.
Here comes that sinking feeling.
That's a lot of balls for a lot of pounds.
Experiment number 2 is designed to find out just how many ping pong balls will fit into a confined space. Adam adopts a questionable scientific method. Please, whatever you do, don't try this at home.
So, 2, 4.
Returning to his senses, he uses the fish tank to find out how efficiently ping pong balls pack together.
So I've got just about 300 balls in here. My space is...
Adam crunches the numbers, and they don't look pretty.
51%. 51% packing efficiency. That's crappy. What that means is that there's all this space between the balls where they can't go right up next to each other because of the fact that spheres are not very good at stacking up against each other.
So far, so bad. Is this myth sunk before it's even begun? While Adam and Jamie are getting bogged down, the build team are going up, up, and away.
I love blowing these balloons up. It's fun.
Hey, you can get a job at the carnival.
I have too many teeth.
Yeah, you do.
Scotty, Tori, and Carrie may look like they're having fun, but this is what they call work.
And
That's the way this is gonna go today.
They're testing a myth that has launched 1,000 Hollywood fairground gags. Mr. Bean demonstrates the classic routine. Kid begins to cry. Parent caves in. Kid gets handed a bunch of balloons. Distracted parent looks away. Kid drifts off into the wild blue yonder. But have you ever wondered, if you really did want to float little Elmer off into the next county, how many party balloons it would take? The MythBusters build team is about to find out. They'll need a willing kid and a whole bunch of balloons. But will that bunch be implausibly large? First up, they find out how much weight 10 balloons of the standard 11-inch party variety can lift.
Here's 10 balloons.
there's 10 there, okay.
The balloons lift 100 grams of easy-to-attach paper clips. And converting from metric, it should take 46 balloons to lift 1 pound.
Let's try to get a really skinny kid.
Yeah.
There you go.
How about a cute one?
Well, it looks like 3 balloons won't fly you away.
Don't follow his example, but the MythBusters sound man has volunteered the flying services of his intrepid daughter, Maddie.
Grab a scale. I got a kid. Let's see how heavy you are.
About 44
pounds.
Yeah. Maddie, you want to fly away in balloons? Up in the air?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
afraid of heights?
Nah.
Good.
That's gonna be you.
Maddie may well scream. She's going to be holding on to the biggest bunch of balloons she's ever likely to see.
Oh my God, we're coming up with 2,070 balloons. And we know we're probably gonna pop about 1,000 of them.
Yeah, so we're gonna need to get a lot of balloons.
Somewhere out there is an unsuspecting party store owner, and the MythBusters builders are about to make his day.
All right, let's go shopping.
All right, let's go.
Adam can pull some neat stunts with ping pong balls, but can he and Jamie really use them to salvage a sunken boat?
Now, the essential question for us in testing this myth is, what boat do we raise off the ocean floor?
Well, we did do a thing on a previous experiment with a tugboat that we dubbed the Mythanic.
The Mythanic, that's perfect.
Previously on MythBusters, the guys set out to scuttle the Mythanic, and with it, the myth that a sinking ship will suck you under.
Remember this ship?
The Mythanic.
Adam rates the episode as his scariest piece of myth-busting so far.
The first time this thing started to go under, it went bow first, and the back end was really lurching, something fierce, and I just didn't want to get caught under any part of it.
Surprised by the sea's rapid inflow, Adam bails out early and misses his chance.
The second time it was a lot more gentle, and it started rolling kind of like this, and I sort of sat on the windows of the wheelhouse here and went right under.
Mythanic went under. Adam floated. The myth was safely busted. Now, the guys plan to sink Mythanic again to see if they can bring her back to the surface using only ping pong balls. It all depends on how much Mythanic weighs.
Now, do you remember anything about how much it actually weighed?
I don't have a clue, you know. We'll have to get a crane out here because I think they typically come with scales on them, and we can find out pretty quick.
They know that 15 ping pong balls offset 1 pound of weight underwater. Mythanic won't be sunk until the guys figure out how many balls they'll need to get her back.
Minus the rigging, which is 3,300 pounds roughly, I came up with just under 28,000 pounds. Well, Jimmy, the Mythanic tops out at just under 28,000 pounds, about 14 tons, which by my calculations would take about
just under 400,000 ping pong balls to lift it out of the water.
It's an implausible amount, so Mythtanic is abandoned and it's back to the drawing board.
What about your average Joe? I think we look towards this myth as being something we can scale down to, say, a fiberglass sailboat. Let's say your average Joe lost his fiberglass sailboat in shallow coastal waters and happened to be a former table tennis star and has a few dozen thousand ping pong balls lying around. Could he salvage the boat from, let's say, 30 to 35 feet of water?
A small sailboat weighs about 3,500 pounds.
It'll take just over 50,000 balls to make it neutrally buoyant, probably 60,000 to raise it from the bottom of the ocean.
And that's a small sailboat.
That's a small sailboat, like a 25-footer or something like that.
And that's still about $25,000 worth of ping pong balls, right?
Yeah, at 50 cents a piece, it's still a hell of a lot of dough worth of ping pong balls. But it's a lot more approachable than 600,000 of them.
The guys don't want to burn the budget, but the next big question is, can ping pong balls take the heat at 35 feet?
Would they hold up under the pressure?
Maybe we should test it first. We wouldn't want to set up this whole rig and find out that, you know, they only go down 10 feet.
That would be bad.
Jamie designs a pressure chamber to simulate what will happen to the ping pong balls 35 feet underwater. If they crack under the higher pressure, this myth is busted before the guys even get their feet wet.
What we're doing now is we're making a pressure vessel, and with around 100 psi or so, which we'd like to bring it up to, that's something sort of special. So we've got to custom make something, and hopefully we won't hurt anybody.
In a previous episode of MythBusters, the boys toyed around with pressure and its effects on breast implants.
Look at that, it's a thing of beauty.
Jamie decided to see if they would compress under the high-pressure conditions of deep-sea diving. He didn't figure on explosive results.
We had a seal blow. Are you guys all right?
Now, the guys are swapping breast implants for ping pong balls, but the danger is just the same.
Never let it be said that Jamie and I don't take high pressure seriously. So we're going to take this down to 1 atmosphere, right?
No, we'll take it all the way to the bottom of the ocean.
Cool.
A blast screen is put in place in case of an explosion.
You ready?
I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
It's time for the big squeeze.
We're at 30 psi. That's 2 atmospheres.
No, that's 1.
But 30 psi is 2 atmospheres.
Yeah, but they weren't made in outer space. So they were made at 1 atmosphere, so we've only added 1 atmosphere.
Oh, okay, I see. So let's go to 45.
Okay.
45 pounds per square inch means adding 2 atmospheres of pressure. That's what the balls would face over 60 feet underwater.
I'm just going to keep on going.
Okay.
If you hear a big boom, just dive.
Adam sends the ping pong balls deeper and deeper until...
Whoa!
I heard that. What was
What was that? That was at about
That was about
60.
Well, so they didn't burst until 60 psi. That's 4 atmospheres. That's equivalent to 90 feet under the water. The distance we're thinking of, about 30 feet, doesn't seem like these ping pong balls will crush it all down there.
Now that they know pressure won't be a problem, the guys ship in 60,000 ping pong balls. But there's one remaining hurdle. How on earth do they get so many balls down to a sunken boat?
We've thought about mechanical means, huge chains that pulled balls down.
Like tens or hundreds of thousands of ping pong balls.
But we've also thought of these huge bellows pumps.
We don't want to take them down a bag at a time with scuba.
Valve opens, ping pong balls come in, valve closes, ping pong balls shove out. I mean, the amount of custom building we've been pondering here is huge.
The guys are stuck at the drawing board. As ideas run dry, Adam starts to crack up.
Wow. Hey, would you like to hold these?
No.
Concerned for Adam's mental well-being, Jamie makes a practical suggestion.
One of the first things that I think we should do is actually try in a scale experiment, seeing whether a flow of water downward will carry these with them, because we might just get away with having a tube going down into the boat. Gravity takes the water down, and maybe, just maybe, it'll pull some of these ping pong balls with it. And then we could just sit there and dump them in without having to enclose and pressurize the system.
It's the simplest of builds. Adam suspects it may be too simple. Take a funnel and a tube and just add water, gravity, and ping pong balls.
They're coming out. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Simple, but brilliant. A dispensing rig to dispatch ping pong balls down to Davy Jones' locker.
That is going to save us so much work if this actually works in the large scale.
The MythBusters are no strangers to unpowered flight.
I'm very excited about this. We're starting to lift.
In testing the myth of the lawn chair balloonist, Adam took to the air and took his life in his hands.
I have to let you go.
I'd rather just stay under 100 feet. Thank you, over.
So they know you can fly beneath weather balloons if you have enough.
There we go! Ah!
Wow, look at this.
But could a bunch of party balloons really carry a kid away from a carnival? The MythBusters builders are on the case. At SF Party, they need at least 2,000 balloons, a stack of helium, and a speed lesson in tying.
Okay, so you bring 2 balloons of the same size, okay, and you tie them into each other.
If Feliciano had $1 for every balloon he's tied, well, he wouldn't be tying balloons anymore.
All right, see, you got that?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Feliciano reveals the secret of making really big bunches of balloons. You've got to have columns, lots and lots of columns.
All right, so
Now I go like that.
Great.
You know, I don't usually admit this in public, but I used to be a face painting clown.
Oh, you know how to tie little
Balloon animals? Maybe. Dog with a very long tail. Beep, beep, beep.
Hi.
Bye-bye.
Don't have too much fun in here.
We'll try.
I think he just saved us a ton of time. Originally, I had imagined that we were going to tie all these balloons to single strings, each balloon having a string going down to a point. But now what we're going to do is we're going to build columns. We're going to make columns of balloons, 250, and then we'll tie those together down to the kid. So it's going to save us a lot of time.
Time could really burst their bubble on this experiment. How long does it take to inflate 2,000 balloons? Can you even do it in a day? Time for a time trial.
Get set, go.
25 balloons, 3 sets of hands.
This is easy.
The clock is ticking and the team is pumped.
Come on, Scotty! 2 minutes, 20 seconds.
For 25 balloons.
Okay.
2 minutes, 20 seconds.
That was tough.
Minutes.
So, say 2,500 balloons means how long?
I mean, we got 25.
So that's
25.
2,500 times 2.
That's 1,000 times 2.2. Wait, no, wait.
Okay.
I can't listen to you guys right now.
2.
I got 2 women. I'm distracted. I mean,
No.
Eventually, they called a rocket scientist, and she came up with just under 4 hours.
God, I used to be a teacher, and the kids are gonna be like, oh my God, she can't even do math anymore.
I ain't never been one for book learning.
Math will soon be the least of their worries. 4 hours is the absolute minimum inflation time. And they've only got 1 day to pull this off.
It's really not going to be that bad.
famous last words.
Yes.
Where better to test the fairground balloon myth than an abandoned aircraft hangar?
All right, we don't have much time, guys.
We've got our balloons, we got our helium tanks, and we don't have much time. We have to blow up 2,000 balloons and get a 4-year-old off the ground by the end of today.
Fearless stunt kid Maddie is bubbling over with excitement.
Yay! Bubbles! We have bubbles. We're in luck.
2,000 balloons should send Maddie on her maiden flight.
So we were wondering if a kid were to get carried away by balloons, where would they end up?
So we've attached little notes to our balloons to see how far they go. If somebody gets them, they'll call us.
Ready, Maddie? Let it go. Whee!
If the power of wishful thinking counts for anything, there'll be news of those balloons again someday. The team makes like they're getting ready for the world's biggest carnival.
Oh, look! You've got big, fumbly man hands.
This balloon business is child's play.
Whoa! Oh my God.
So we're doing all right.
We're golden.
All right, what number are we at?
This is gonna be 1,900.
They're ahead of schedule, and with a little luck, ahead of the game in terms of lift. Time for a reality check.
What do you got down there, Carrie?
Oh God.
To avoid undue wear and tear on Maddie, they'll use a stunt kid.
Isn't she cute?
She is the exact weight as Maddie. I made her yesterday.
Oh,
They'll hook sandbag Maddie onto the balloons.
This is fantastic. This is pulling me up so hard. You know, we figured that it would hold up about 10 grams per balloon. I think we've got more lift than that.
I think my arm is about to be ripped out of its socket.
It's an impressive bunch. But how much lift do they really have?
Uh-oh.
Well, we're not getting lift.
1,900 balloons only cancel out about half the dummy's weight.
Oh, you're kidding me. She's still 20 pounds. God, I thought we were getting towards the end.
All their lofty calculations have been slapped down by gravity.
Are we sure we counted right on the balloons?
And Maddie's magical mystery flight is starting to look like an impossible dream. Jamie's dispensing rig is a neat way of shipping ping pong balls down to a sunken boat, as long as it's at the bottom of a bucket. So they scale up the experiment to a depth of 15 feet.
This thing is really heavy. Jeez. We're about to stand up a like 15, 16 foot tall piece of PVC pipe here. We're to use this to test our ping pong ball rescue rig by putting a pipe all the way down to the bottom of it and seeing if we can pump ping pong balls that full distance.
That's about half the depth they'll be working in when they try to raise the sunken boat for real.
Okay, I'm gonna move the bottom over. Okay, good. Nicely done.
The white PVC pipe is filled with water to create a 15-foot slice of ocean. Adam inserts a funnel into the hose, fires up a water pump, and pours in the ping pong balls, which travel to the ocean bottom before dutifully bobbing to the surface.
That's what I like to see.
I'd say that's a working thing, right?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, cut it.
Well, let's wrap this up and figure out how to make one really big.
Okay.
The experiment has allayed some of Adam's doubts. He still can't find fault with Jamie's rig.
I actually said it was a very successful test. We had about 8 feet of hose above a 15-foot reservoir, and we got ping pong balls coming up from underneath.
Although the experiment works, Adam wants to double the depth, just to be sure. Jamie's seen enough.
If you pour the water into the tube, it's going to go out the bottom. That's what it is.
I mean, if you want to go without caution and put all our eggs in a single basket, we can, but I'm just advocating caution because I'm not sure. I'm happy to do a myth where we go out and have no caution and pick it up and have you eat it.
You
and
big
not
baby.
be upset about
Stop
it.
whining.
He's such a pain in the ass about it. I mean,
you're always whining about something. You're going to waste time on all sorts of crap.
Off.
A prediction. Adam's going to have to vent that anger. There you go. The pressure of this myth is starting to show.
So, I guess I got to pull this rig down myself.
I'm up here just letting off some steam right now.
Adam needs a cookie. There are times during the day when, things just get all out of hand because Adam needs a little sugar in the system and he gets all cranky over nothing.
I'm just livid. I'm exhausted of advocating caution.
I'm not the uncautious one.
I'm just thinking of all the what ifs.
Why waste the time over this crap?
If you don't think of all the what ifs, then you get boned out there.
This is simple. We're running a hose down into the boat and pouring ping pong balls down it.
That's probably not going to matter. That's probably not going to matter. And that's probably not going to matter.
We just tested it. It works. And stop whining. Go have a cookie.
It's a knockout. After a cookie cure, Adam's ready for more. His next opponent, a giant plastic funnel. Round 1. Round 2. Round 3.
What?
This funnel's got some fancy moves. Adam's on the ropes. Then, out of nowhere, a pile driver. Adam nails it, and he's back to normal.
What's that you say, Sonny? I can't quite hear ya.
He applies the finishing touches to his high-tech funnel and completes a neat about-face in his opinion of Jamie's rig.
I'm really actually pleased with this mechanism. This is a classic Jamie ultimate simplicity. No pumps, no mechanical operations to get the ping pong balls down. All we need is water coming up and over. My big funnel is connected to the hose that will go down and hopefully deliver the ping pong balls to our sunken ship, the Jalapeno.
The MythBusters are at Monterey Bay Marina to select a sailboat to sink and then salvage using ping pong balls. Thanks to the generosity of the harbor master, they find themselves the proud owners of the Jalapeno.
Scott, what's been happening on this boat?
Well, this boat has been neglected for several years, and it was invaded by sea lions last year during the kind of a 10-year cycle that we have with sea lion infestation here in the harbor.
Over 1,000 sea lions decided to take their summer vacation at Monterey Bay, causing havoc at the marina. The invasion sank several boats, but one proved unsinkable, the Jalapeno.
This one had at least 30 or 40 different animals.
So somebody or something has already tried to sink this boat, is what you're telling me.
Tried,
and they
but failed.
Yeah, wow.
Well, it sounds perfect. Scott, this is the perfect boat for us. I think we'll take it.
Okay.
Thank
you.
you.
Got it. All right. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Oh, man. What a piece of crap.
What do you mean? This is a great boat.
I think it's perfect. Oh, we just have to figure out where to drill the right holes. The Jalapeno makes the perfect boat for the ping pong salvage myth. Number 1, it's dirt cheap. Number 2, it's a piece of crap, so no one will mind us sinking it. Number 3, it's fiberglass and has actually a whole bunch of compartments which we can fill each with ping pong balls and then seal off and move on to the next. That's more ideal than we could have hoped for.
A little rotten wood here and there, and a lot of chipped and peeling paint. Otherwise, I think it'll serve our purpose nicely.
We have to clean it really well before we sink it in a protected wildlife sanctuary of Monterey Bay. Shall we start to try and clean this puppy?
There it goes.
With the Jalapeno stripped down to its bare essentials, the guys make some minor last-minute interior adjustments. To refloat the boat from the ocean floor, the ping pong balls must have access to every nook and cranny of cabin space. Sinking a boat is not as easy as you'd think. With the cabin makeover complete, it's time to batten down the hatches. The guys want to be sure that when they fill her with ping pong balls, she doesn't burst open. But they're up against the clock.
What the hell time is it? We're late.
Yeah, it's like almost 4 o'clock.
What?
It's almost like 4 o'clock.
When everything is ship-shape, the Jalapeno is renamed. It's time to scuttle Mythtanic number 2. The doomed vessel is towed to a safe location on the other side of the marina. With the final leg in sight, the boys slip into something less comfortable. Jamie seems to be going camouflaged as a walrus. The sun is sinking, but Mythtanic 2 is still afloat. The MythBusters are determined that she keeps her appointment with the ocean floor. She's already survived the onslaught of over 40 sea lions, each weighing in at around 800 pounds. Now the MythBusters flood her with water. Adam starts to wonder if she'll ever go under.
How hard is this thing a boat?
A crowd gathers to wave farewell to Mythtanic 2. As she finally surrenders, Adam scrambles to the bow. As Mythtanic 2 descends towards the ocean floor, up above, the guys are in MythBusters heaven.
About 3 minutes ago, we just had what is a classic MythBusters what the are we doing kind of moment. We just successfully sank the Mythtanic 2. While we were doing it, we took the opportunity to bust the Titanic myth one more time. This boat sunk on a tiny point left up above the water, and I stood on that point and air bubbled around me, and I did not go down with this ship. So, you know, I'm glad we're able to take care of ancillary myths as we go.
Busted again!
I'm totally pumped on adrenaline. I think I need a cookie.
It's been a blast, but sinking the boat's a breeze compared to what they'll face in the morning when the ping pong salvage starts for real.
There's a little bit of lift, but
not enough.
Back at the balloon challenge, young Maddie is showing patience beyond her years. By now, she should have been lifted up, up and away. But someone's messed up, big time. The build team estimated 2,000 balloons would be enough to get her airborne.
Yes, this is truly my arm just being lifted by these balloons.
Instead, it seems they'll need twice that, and time is against them.
Didn't we calculate that the flying times of these balloons would be about 6 hours?
Better work faster.
Not only will they struggle to blow up that many balloons today, but with every minute that passes, the balloons that are inflated lose some of their helium and lifting power.
We might be in like 6,000 balloons by the time we get the kid in the air.
Oh my God, my fingers can't take it.
Suddenly, everything is going wrong.
Balloons are popping. Balloons are deflating.
Balloons are escaping. And with time slipping away, Tori goes fishing.
Go, 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 go. Get up there. Yeah, there you go. And they said my ideas are crazy.
Whether it's fear of failure and MythBusters ridicule,
Ow, I need that finger.
or just the dread of a screaming Maddie, the builders blow and tie and curse their way towards a balloon bunch of mythic proportions.
Well, if our count is correct, we are now at 3,000 balloons, which is about 1,000 more than we originally expected.
My fingers are toast.
I guess we should do another test with the dummy, huh?
Once more, a sinking sandbag Maddie reveals the terrible truth.
7 more pounds. We only have to lift 7 more pounds.
500 more balloons coming up.
This myth is starting to smell busted. What carnival balloon vendor in his right mind would create a bunch this big, then hand it to a child?
I have never seen that many balloons, not even at the county fair.
But try telling that to Maddie, who's been promised a flight.
This will get us up to 3,500 balloons.
That's a lot of trouble for a little girl and a big myth. But finally, Maddie's moment has arrived.
Maddie, it's go time.
Woohoo!
All right.
Safety line in hand.
Wait. I got a safety line.
You ready?
Yes.
Look at that!
Oh my gosh!
Maddie will forever be burdened by having a story so amazing that none of her friends believe it.
It worked!
That's the price of showing that while you can lift a kid with party balloons, you just need far too many for the myth to be plausible.
I would say we popped that myth.
Totally busted. There's no way that a circus would have this many balloons in one bunch.
Yeah!
Busted? Did someone say busted? Time to unleash the evil child within.
Tasted
Sure, Freddie and Jason look scary, but for real bang for her buck, Scotty's flashing back to her street performing days. Oh, the humanity.
Scotty, I think your method might be the most effective.
Oh, and remember those balloons set free to roam the world? Well, one bunch turned up at the Sequoia National Park, 300 miles away. The other two, they never write, they never call. A truckload of ping pong balls rolls south to a rendezvous with the MythBusters. Meanwhile, at a cold and foggy Monterey Bay, there's something very fishy going on.
It seems that you can't plan for everything. There's a fish processing factory behind us, and they're unloading a few thousand pounds of squid, a good portion of which seems to be chumming the very water that we're going to be raising the Mythtanic in. We're emboldened by the fact that there's only been one shark attack in the recorded history of Monterey Bay.
Gallons of squid juice are creating a stink. This myth is putting the pong into ping pong.
Well, the second problem is directly a result of the first, is that all this fish juice that is enticing marine animals to come and feed is also limiting our visibility a lot. So hopefully it'll wash away, but we'll just have to take it as it comes as we go today.
Busting this myth is a tall order without the added perils of sharks and poor visibility. As they race the ping pong balls towards the bay, the guys call in expert help from Robert Flores, a professional salvage diver.
Robert, have you heard the myth about somebody that tried to float a sunken boat with a bunch of ping pong balls?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it happen before.
Oh, what do you think? Is it possible?
If you can get the ping pong balls underwater and you get enough of them in there, I think you can get it to float.
Robert, what are the dangers in doing this kind of salvage work?
In this kind of a situation, you're going to be working inside of a vessel, so you got an overhead environment. You got to be particularly careful of your air consumption rate. And of course, a dramatic loss in buoyancy. For a hatch cover to blow open or the ping pong balls to escape dramatically would cause the vessel to immediately sink again. And if anybody's in it, underneath it, or near it and gets caught in any of the ribbing or ropes, it could be extremely dangerous.
You feel like helping us?
I'll be glad to give you a hand. I want to watch this one happen.
The truck has arrived, and the team get to work unloading 60,000 ping pong balls. Moving this mountain falls to Myth-Turn Christine, and it's getting up her nose.
They stink. Never imagined ping pong balls would smell so bad. The worst case scenario is actually going to happen to me today, which is to collect 60,000 ping pong balls and find a place to put them.
First blood falls to the box cutter.
Another MythBuster injury. I've had candy exploded on my face, I've been shocked twice, I had scaffolding fall near me, and now this.
Can she stay the distance?
Yes, I think I will survive the series, but I think I'll probably use up 8 of my 9 lives.
Christine can take care of herself, but the local wildlife need protecting. Adam and Jamie seek advice from Rachel Saunders of the Monterey Bay Marine Sanctuary.
We're actually about to potentially release like 60,000 ping pong balls into this marine sanctuary. And what would be like a worst case scenario with those ping pong balls, do you think?
Well, we would want to make sure that no marine animals swallowed them, for example, and hurt them in any way. So that would be the primary concern. If they swallowed it, it might get lodged in their throat, and they could choke. They might pass it through, but you don't know.
You know, I think Jamie here actually possesses a certification in otter CPR, actually.
Right. Well, hopefully that won't happen, and we won't have to learn how that would work.
Forewarned is forearmed. The guys decide to seal off the salvage area to keep marine life and ping pong balls apart.
Hey, Jamie, they're calling you.
They saw the mustache.
Yeah.
While Adam feeds the rig up above, Jamie and Dive Master Robert will be down below at the business end, marshalling balls into Mythtanic 2. The rig works, and Jamie clocks in for the early shift on the ocean floor. They're off, and the first of an estimated 50,000 ping pong balls are pumped into MythTanic 2. Things seem to be rolling along. Hold up, there's a holdup. When Adam feeds in too many balls at once, the system chokes. He's reduced to feeding them in a handful at a time. 1 hour into this myth, and spirits are sinking.
At this point, I've only emptied like 4 or 5 boxes. That's like 6,000 or 7,000 ping pong balls. I don't think that means that 50,000 needs to take 10 hours, but we're gonna have to pick up the pace in order for us to get a reasonable amount of balls into there in a reasonable amount of time.
Then Robert pops up with a suggestion.
I think the hose is still too long. I got all this slack and I've got all the photos. If you can take about another 10 or 12 feet off of this thing.
I can take 10 feet off in 5 seconds.
The long hose is looping in the water, and the downward flow of ping pong balls is being reversed on the uphill sections. So the balls aren't reaching the boat in large enough numbers. The MythBusters hope that by cutting the hose to length, the flow from funnel to boat will be smoother and faster. Adam lops the hose in half, and they try again, with dramatic results. With one simple modification, the dispensing rig runs like clockwork, and they're having a ball. Soon, MythTanic 2 contains enough ping pong balls to become neutrally buoyant. Her stern remains on the bottom, but her bow is floating free, and she's still only half filled with balls. News reaches the surface, and Adam's on top of the world.
Oh, that's cool.
The most critical phase of the salvage is approaching, and it's also the most dangerous by far. At Monterey Bay, the MythBusters' bid to salvage a sunken boat using ping pong balls lies in the balance.
We're trying to lift this boat from its deck, something the deck was never intended to do. So it's possible once we get enough ping pong balls under there and it's trying to lift the 1,800-pound keel, that the deck will just rip right off the boat and we'll have 30,000 ping pong balls inside of our boom here.
As the upward pressure in the MythTanic reaches critical, Adam continues to feed balls into the funnel. Suddenly, hundreds of them bob up from below. That could be hours of work floating to the surface.
Oh no, they're coming up.
Jamie?
Hold on. Can you hear me? Over.
Robert surfaces with a damage report. He's okay, but MythTanic 2 has ruptured.
Here's somebody. There we go. What's going on down there?
There's a window on top. We didn't even see it. A piece of wood glued in that blew out.
Shoot.
We need to find a way to put it up underneath and then fill it with ping pong balls again.
On the front of the boat, there was this hatch on the bow that we screwed down. That hole blew out, it seems, from pressure of the ping pong balls, because we were up here pumping the balls down, and all of a sudden ping pong balls are shooting up out of the water.
A new hatch cover is quickly improvised. Robert fits it from the inside. So as the ping pong balls pack in behind it, they'll force shut the hole. The dispensing rig swings into high gear, and the MythBusters are back in business.
Oh yeah, they're going.
The ping pong balls fly into the depths, and before long, there's 26,000 of them inside MythTanic 2. That's just over half the number they estimate they'll need to raise her. Suddenly, Robert hits the surface with unexpected news.
Now she's standing straight up. She's getting kind of close, ready to float up. So I'm low on air. Jamie, it's your turn. Go finish her up.
This is the moment of truth. Either this gag is going to work or it's not.
Just in case you were wondering, Jamie isn't referring to the gag about the diver and the beret.
The boat is upright, it's teetering. So we know we've got a lot of flotation in there. It's a question of overcoming the weight of the keel in this boat. These boats have a lead keel. So it's anybody's guess whether it's actually going to work.
The good news is that the main cabin is still empty, so there's plenty of room for more balls. The bad news is that according to their calculations, they need to pump at least another 24,000 of them to get Mythtannic 2 out of the mud.
I think it's going to work. It's going to be close.
Jamie goes below for what looks like another long shift. But before long, Mythtannic 2 seems to be straining at the leash. A premature resurrection may be imminent. Up top, the excitement mounts.
I'm cautiously optimistic that it's maybe an hour until this boat breaks the surface and confirms this myth.
Take that caution and throw it to the wind. Because even as Adam speaks, Mythtannic 2 stirs, then slowly rises from her watery grave. Way ahead of schedule, the ping pong balls float the MythBusters boat. The 9-hour marathon salvage is over.
Raise the Mythtannic 2.
We succeeded, of all things. We got the Mythtannic to the surface using about 27,000 ping pong balls all told, which is a lot less than I thought we'd need. But she's on the surface. We did it.
The guys had calculated that it would take at least 50,000 ping pong balls to raise Mythtannic 2. But they did it with just over half that number. Mythtannic 2 is winched onto the dock, and the guys gather for a post-mortem.
Oh, you're the man. Got it. Okay.
I thought we were going to do it, Jimmy, but I didn't realize we were going to do it that easily.
It didn't really seem like it took that many. None of the compartments were packed like I thought we were going to need to really get every last nook and cranny filled for this to work.
Well, we had to use less because the fiberglass was more buoyant.
And the wood.
And the
Something
wood.
we didn't take into account at the beginning.
Adam, the pump, did it work well? What's the deal?
The pump actually worked. It got the balls down there. I would have liked to have seen them move a little faster, and it took a little dialing in, but overall, for the simplest possible rig we could have designed, it worked like a charm.
And who would have ever thought that you could pour ping pong balls down into the bottom of the ocean?
Exactly.
Actually, the guys were beaten to the idea by a duck. Over 70 years ago, Donald and his nephews came up with a ping pong ball dispensing rig uncannily similar to Jamie's. And like the MythBusters, the comic book poultry also achieved success.
Well, guys, ping pong ball salvage. Busted, plausible, or confirmed?
Amazingly, I'd say this one is entirely plausible.
Yeah, plausible, not practical though.
But you never think anything's really practical, do you?
What are you talking about?
But wait, there's still time for the ping pong gong.
So what do you think, Robert? Have we busted the field of salvage technology wide open? Are ping pong balls a reasonable way to salvage a boat?
I wouldn't give up my day job yet.
No.
No.
How did Jamie do as a salvage diver?
Well, I think Jamie did an outstanding job. And as part of that, our dive team has all voted and we got together. And Jamie, we'd like to present you with an honorary Navy salvage dive pin.
Wow.
And hopefully you'll come out and dive with us again sometime or call us out the next time you want to do some salvage diving.
Well, that's wonderful, Robert. Thanks.
You're welcome very much.
What am I, chopped liver?